Earlier today, we unboxed this new GladiusMini, and now we've given it a couple of hours to charge up. We've got everything connected, so we've got the aluminum connector here with the O-rings built into it, connected to via the tether to the transmission module. And a couple things we've discovered about this that we really like. First of all, the transmission module is turned on and off all by itself. Now this module is a little bit unusual. Most of the ROVs out there run on 2.4 Wi-Fi systems, and this can operate on either 2.4 or 5G, either one. So we've got a switch back here on the back. This is a reset button that changes the type of network that you're going to be operating with. Now, this is important because you may have different types of mobile devices, tablets, etc., that you're going to be using to operate the system with. So this gives you a great amount of flexibility out in the field. We've already discovered some challenges with 5G in areas where we've got lots of vehicles and so forth that are separating us from the water. And so today we're going to be running in 2.4, but it does work in both configs. It really just depends on the environment. Here in the pool setting, when we tested it a few minutes ago, just to be sure we had everything set up, the 5G worked great. We switched back to 2.4 just because that's what we tried earlier. So now all of this information is coming from the receiver module down through the cabling. We've got some cable down here on the floor. We're down here on the ground. Now the benefit of this type of system is it allows the remote control to operate separately. So currently you can see I've got the ROV sitting here on the ground. I don't know how well you can really see the interface from here, but you can see the lock button that's there, the unlock button. This vehicle will always be, or the ROV will always be unlocked when, or excuse me, locked when it's out of the water. This is to prevent the motors from being damaged. Unlike other systems out there, you don't need to manually unlock it. You should. That's best practices with these devices. But anytime the system loses connectivity, or you switch off your phone or go to a different mode, it will immediately lock itself to self-protect. So it's got its self-protection system built right into it. All right, without saying anything more, let's toss it in the water. Remember, you're always going to want to pick this up from one of the grab points on the watercraft or on the ROV. Never grab it via the tether. It's a great way to find yourself with the tether pulled out of that aluminum housing. Again, my recommendation to the good folks at Chasing Technologies is that they add a secondary strain relief there just to prevent people from doing what kind of comes naturally. Alright, so we've got it down in the water. Let's let it fill up with a little bit of water there and set itself up. It'll self-right as soon as it's there. Alright, it's all filled up. Now the first thing we're going to do is we are going to unlock the ROV. So let's click unlock there. And it's now unlocked, and you can see that it's spinning a little bit. We got an idea of what's happening in the water, so you can see it there. Now if we want to take it down, it's just really like operating any other type of ROV. Now one of the things that makes this a little unusual is the keys can be configured, so they'll operate the way that we want them to operate. So in this case, I'm going to set it at that particular depth. I'm going to lock that depth in, and that allows me to maintain a particular depth with the ROV. This is one of the challenges with a lot of the different systems out there. So now, let's drive it forward. Notice it's pulling cable all by itself. And we'll turn it around just to bring it around here. Now one of the things with this system is it can be designed to point in a particular direction. So right now I've got it set up so that it's pointing its nose up, and we can maintain it at that angle. So if we raise it up off the floor just a little bit, we can now move it forward, and it'll maintain that angle. We can, very quickly tip it back down. And there's some turn with it. We'll drive it forward a little bit more, and just bring it around so you can see how smooth that operates. Now this system does have a couple of different speeds. We've got a low, medium, and high mode. Currently we've got the light set at 4%, so we can change up the light as we need to shift up the light. We can change the angle of the watercraft as well. So if we tip this up, you can see very clearly the watercraft tipping up, or if we want to tip it down, now you can see the nose pointing toward the bottom. If we look down at the watercraft there, you can see the lights directly on the bottom there. So now we'll move it backwards. You can see how we're able to go backwards using that particular angle. So, why would we want to do that? Now I'm going to reset this to level just automatically. So all we're going to do to reset it to level is give a double click right here to this button, and the rotating switch or the button there, that will automatically set it up to level. So why would we care about an angle? Well, there's a lot of reasons why we might want to have the ROV operating at angle. If we were scanning the underside of a boat, the last thing we want to be doing is having to worry about keeping it tilted up by using our joysticks. Let's just set it to an angle that we want and forget it. And then we'll just simply side slide or move our way down that hull. Same thing with a propeller, or maybe we need to look underneath a pier. For law enforcement or security purposes, maybe we need to look underneath a bridge or underneath a particular area to see what's there. Again, we don't want to have to keep constantly worrying about the angle of the craft. We just simply want to move sideways along with it. So again, I'm going to use this tilt angle, and if you'll watch just right down here, you'll see the angle change, and you can see the angle changing in the way that the craft behaves. So if we tilt it down, of course, now we're seeing the bottom. Now it's also giving you some other information. We can see the temperature there. The water's 82 degrees. We're not very deep. We've got the altitude or the depth locked in here. If we take the depth off, now we can do quite a few different things, and we see that we're changing the modes. Now look down here in this corner. You can see the drone there. Well, if I rotate it, we can see the heading of the drone. We can see its angle, so it's really tilted up. Tilt it back down, and we can rotate it in any of those modes. We've got a nice 3D graphical representation of exactly what's happening with the drone based on the gyroscope that's inside. Again, to set it back to level, we just double click that one piece right there. All right, let's just drive it around a little bit. Just do some cruising. Now right now we're operating in a mode where we don't have it set up to maintain depth. So I'm just going to drive around on the surface a little bit here. Let's dive down while we're driving. There she goes. If we put it into high-speed mode, we've got a pretty fast-moving little ROV. It really skims along pretty darn quickly. Trying to keep it here in this area, and let's bring it back to the surface and scoot along, and let's drop that back down pretty quick. Change our angle while it's operating there. Again, we can work off the surface or we can work down low. Now you heard there where I pressed the photo button. This has got a number of different settings where we can take photographs, we can record video with it, we can set up a variety of different settings. It's got all of the standard kinds of things you might want to work with here. So currently we're shooting a 4K image. We're shooting at 30 frames a second, and I've upped the bitrate all the way up to 60 megabits per second. ISO can be set up manually or automatically, so we've got a few different things that we can do with it. And right here, you're seeing me look just through the water there. And let's go ahead and lock it in at that depth. There we go. And it'll maintain that depth through the whole operation. And we rotate it, you'll see it maintains that angle all the way through. And I'll bring that back a little closer to you there, boss. All right. So all in all, you can get a pretty swift view here. We've got a pretty swift view of what this can do. So this passes the sterile environment test, so to speak. And the next thing that we're going to do with it is we're going to take it and put it into some real water. We're going to take it out to the lake, drop it down in. Let's see just how good the lights on the ROV are. They're 1200 lumens per light, so we've got a total of 2400 lumens combined there. Let's see what that looks like in a murky, dark environment as opposed to working in a pristine swimming pool that we're using for our self-training as we learn how to run this. Now, I do want to mention a couple of other things. This system is set up very much like an aerial drone joystick system, so we can go into these settings and customize these sticks to do exactly what you want to do with them, or we can either use a Chinese, a Japanese, or an American version or USA version of joystick control. So we've got different modes in here, although in the ROV world they're not really referred to as modes. We can go in and set different modes, or again, you the user can customize these joysticks to be whatever you'd like them to be. So until next time, please keep watching and fly safe.